There is a quiet battle that happens inside every person's head, every single day. You don't see it, you don't hear it, but it's there. It happens when you wake up in the morning and your mind is the first to speak. Before you even move, thoughts come rushing in. They can be thoughts of hope, plans, and excitement, or they can be thoughts of fear, doubt, and laziness. Most people don't notice it, they just accept whatever thought appears first. But here's the truth. Your first thought of the day can decide the quality of your entire day. And your days, added together, decide the quality of your life. That's why learning to discipline your thinking is not just important, it's one of the most important skills you will ever learn. I want you to imagine two people waking up in the morning. The first person opens their eyes and thinks, "Ugh, another hard day. I'm tired already. I'm not ready for this." Their mind feels heavy, their body feels heavier. They drag themselves out of bed, already defeated before the day has even begun. The second person wakes up and thinks, "This is my day. I will face challenges, but I will face them strong. I will look for solutions, not excuses." Their mind feels awake, their body follows, and they move into the day with purpose. The only difference between these two people is the way they think, and that difference changes everything. You see, most people believe their thinking is automatic, like the weather. They believe thoughts just happen, and they have no control over them. But that's not true. Thinking is not just something that happens to you. Thinking is something you can train, guide, and control. It's like a muscle. If you don't train it, it will be weak, lazy, and undisciplined. But if you train it every day, it will be strong, sharp, and powerful. And here's the key. Your life will always rise or fall to the level of your thinking. But what does it mean to discipline your thinking? It does not mean you must only think happy thoughts and ignore problems. It does not mean pretending bad things don't exist. It means learning to take control of where your thoughts go, just like a captain steering a ship. A captain can't control the wind or the waves, but he can control the direction of the ship. In the same way, you can't always control the events of life, but you can control how you think about them. And that control will determine whether you crash or reach the shore. Let me share a story. There was a young man named David who grew up in a rough part of the city. Every day, he heard people around him saying, "Life is unfair, the system is against us, there's no way out." At first, David thought the same way. He believed his future was already decided. But one day, he read a book about the power of the mind. In that book, a sentence caught his attention. You can't choose every thought that enters your mind, but you can choose which thoughts to keep. That sentence hit him hard. He realized he had been keeping the wrong thoughts for years, thoughts that made him feel powerless. From that day, David began training his mind. Every time a thought of hopelessness appeared, he challenged it. He asked, "Is this thought helping me or hurting me?" If it was hurting, he replaced it with a better one. Over time, his thinking became disciplined, and his life began to change. He started a small business, moved out of the neighborhood, and proved to himself that disciplined thinking could break even the strongest chains. The first step in disciplining your thinking is awareness. You cannot control something you do not notice. Right now, your mind is constantly producing thoughts, thousands of them every day. Many of these thoughts are repeated from yesterday and the day before and the day before that. They run on autopilot. If you don't stop to notice them, they will control you without you even realizing it. It's like walking through life with a pair of glasses you never clean. The world will always look dirty, not because it is dirty, but because your lenses are. Disciplining your thinking means cleaning those lenses, seeing clearly what is actually there. Awareness is simple, but it's not always easy. It means pausing for a moment when you feel an emotion rising and asking yourself, what am I thinking right now? For example, If you feel nervous before a meeting, stop and check your thoughts. Maybe you're thinking, I'm going to fail. I'm not prepared. Everyone will judge me. Once you are aware of that thought, you can question it. Am I really unprepared? Is it true that everyone will judge me? Have I succeeded in similar situations before? This questioning is the beginning of mental discipline. You take the thought off autopilot and put it in your hands. The second part of disciplining your thinking is setting mental standards. Just as you have standards for what food you eat or what clothes you wear, you must have standards for what thoughts you allow into your mind. If a stranger came into your home carrying a bag of trash and started dumping it in your living room, you would stop them immediately. You wouldn't say, "Oh, it's fine, just leave it there." Yet many people allow mental trash gossip, negative news, toxic opinions to be dumped into their minds every single day. Then they wonder why they feel stressed, anxious, or unmotivated. You cannot expect a clean, clear mind if you fill it with garbage. Discipline means guarding your mental space as carefully as you guard your physical space. This also means being selective about who you spend time with. People's words and energy influence your thinking more than you realize. If you are around people who constantly complain, criticize, or focus on problems, your mind will absorb that pattern. But if you surround yourself with people who focus on solutions, speak with purpose, and encourage growth, your mind will naturally become more disciplined. It's like planting flowers instead of weeds. Over time, the beauty will take over. Now, here's something important. Disciplined thinking is not built in one big moment. It's built in small, daily actions. Many people get inspired after hearing a motivational talk. They feel powerful for a few hours, maybe even a day. But then, life happens. Stress comes. Old habits return. Why? Because inspiration without discipline fades. You cannot control your thinking for one day and expect your life to change forever. You must train it every day the way an athlete trains their body. It's repetition that builds strength. One of the most powerful ways to train your thinking is through the questions you ask yourself. Your mind is like a search engine. It will always try to answer the question you give it. If you ask, "Why am I such a failure?" your mind will search for evidence to prove it true. But if you ask, "What can I learn from this?" or "How can I use this situation to grow?" your mind will search for answers that help you. A disciplined mind asks better questions. Some people worry that disciplining their thinking will make them emotionless. But the truth is, it will make you more emotionally free. When your thinking is undisciplined, your emotions control you. You get angry and say things you regret. You feel fear and stop chasing your dreams. But when your thinking is disciplined, you can feel emotions fully without letting them take control. You can feel sadness without falling into despair. You can feel anger without acting recklessly. You become the master of your mind, not its prisoner. Think of your mind as a garden. If you plant flowers and care for them, they will grow. But if you leave the garden alone, weeds will take over. Those weeds are negative thoughts, fears, doubts, excuses. They will grow automatically if you don't remove them. Every time you replace a negative thought with a useful one, you're pulling a weed and planting a flower. Over months and years, your mental garden becomes a place of strength, beauty, and peace. Another core part of disciplining your thinking is focusing on what you can control. Many people waste mental energy worrying about the weather, other people's opinions, or mistakes from the past. These are things they cannot change. That's like a sailor trying to control the wind. It's pointless. But if you focus on what you can control, your actions, your words, your choices, you become powerful. You move forward instead of staying stuck. This shift in focus is one of the biggest differences between people who succeed and people who stay the same. Finally, remember that this is a lifelong practice. Your mind has been thinking in certain patterns for years, maybe decades. You will not change these patterns overnight. At first, you may feel frustrated because negative thoughts still appear often. That's normal. The goal is not perfection. The goal is progress. Every time you catch yourself and guide your thinking towards something useful, you are winning. Over time, you will notice that your first reaction to challenges is no longer fear or frustration, but focus and determination. That's when you know your thinking has truly become disciplined. Part 2. Training your mind every day. If you want a disciplined mind, you must treat it like a muscle you train daily. Just like your body needs exercise to grow stronger, your mind needs consistent practice to become sharper and more controlled. Think about professional athletes. They don't train only when they feel motivated. They train every day, even on days they feel tired, bored, or unmotivated. They understand that progress is built in repetition, not in rare moments of inspiration. Your mind works the same way. If you only try to discipline your thinking when life feels easy, you will fail when life becomes hard. You must train it during both calm and storm. That's how you build mental strength that can handle any situation. The problem is, most people want quick results. They read one book, watch one motivational video, or listen to one inspiring speech, and they expect their life to change instantly. But discipline is not built in a day. It is built in the small choices you make every day, the choice to replace a negative thought with a better one, the choice to focus on solutions instead of problems, the choice to speak to yourself with encouragement instead of criticism. Imagine two friends, Michael and John. Both want to improve their lives. Michael decides to practice disciplined thinking every day. Every time he feels fear, he asks, "What can I do right now to move forward?" Every time he makes a mistake, he says, "What lesson can I learn here?" John, on the other hand, waits until he feels inspired. Sometimes he thinks positively, sometimes he doesn't. After 6 months, Michael's thinking is naturally sharper and more focused, while John is still struggling with the same old doubts. The difference is not talent, luck, or intelligence. The difference is practice. Daily training for your mind can start small. You don't need hours of meditation or complicated techniques. Start with one habit: awareness. Spend 5 minutes each morning noticing your thoughts. Are they helpful or harmful? Are they building you or breaking you? Then, choose one thought to replace today. If you wake up thinking, "I'm tired, I don't want to work," replace it with, "I will start and my energy will grow." This simple act, repeated daily, will slowly rewire your mind. Another powerful daily practice is gratitude. Gratitude is like a reset button for your mind. It forces you to focus on what's good, even when life is difficult. When you focus on gratitude, your brain begins to search for more things to appreciate, which naturally disciplines your thinking away from constant negativity. Every morning, write down 3 things you are grateful for. They can be big or small: your health, a friend, the sunrise, a lesson you learned. Over time, this habit changes the way you see the world. Problems will still come, but you will face them with a more balanced mind. Also, train your mind by controlling what you feed it. Just as your body becomes what you eat, your mind becomes what you consume. If you spend hours each day watching negative news, gossip videos, or complaining posts on social media, your thoughts will become negative, anxious, and unfocused. But if you fill your mind with books, podcasts, and conversations that challenge you, inspire you, and teach you, your thoughts will naturally become stronger and more disciplined. Let me tell you about Sarah, a woman who used to spend her evenings scrolling through social media. She would see people living glamorous lives, traveling, buying expensive things. She began to think, "I'm behind. My life is boring. I'm not good enough." These thoughts made her feel unhappy and unmotivated. One day, she decided to make a change. She replaced her nightly scrolling with reading 20 minutes of a good book. At first, it felt strange, but slowly her mind began to change. Instead of comparing herself to others, she started thinking about her own goals. Instead of feeling jealous, she felt inspired, all because she changed what she fed her mind. Your mind also needs rest to stay disciplined. A tired mind is an undisciplined mind. When you are exhausted, your brain becomes lazy. It will choose the easiest thought, not the best one. That's why rest, sleep, and moments of stillness are part of mental discipline. You cannot expect sharp, clear thinking if you are constantly running on low energy. This doesn't mean you should avoid challenges or hard work. It means you should balance them with recovery. Even soldiers and athletes know the power of rest days, because rest is not weakness, it is part of strength. Now let's talk about one of the hardest parts of disciplining your thinking: catching negative self-talk. Self-talk is the constant conversation you have with yourself. If your self-talk is full of criticism, doubt, and fear, you will sabotage your own progress. For example, if you keep telling yourself, "I'm not good enough," your brain will accept it as truth, even if it's not. But if your self-talk is encouraging, realistic, and focused on solutions, you will feel stronger and more confident. Here's a trick. Talk to yourself like you would talk to a close friend you care about. If your friend made a mistake, you wouldn't say, "You're hopeless, you'll never succeed." You would say, "It's okay, everyone makes mistakes. Learn from it and keep going." Treat yourself with that same compassion and encouragement. Over time, this will become your natural way of thinking. Sometimes, people mistake disciplined thinking for unrealistic optimism. They believe that disciplined thinkers just ignore reality and force themselves to be positive. That's not true. Disciplined thinking is not about ignoring reality. It's about facing reality with clarity and control. If something is bad, a disciplined thinker admits it's bad, but then immediately asks, "What can I do about it?" They don't waste time drowning in the problem. They spend time building the solution. Another important part of mental discipline is patience. Your mind has been programmed by years of experiences, habits, and beliefs. Changing this programming takes time. In the beginning, you may catch yourself thinking negatively many times a day. You may feel like you're failing. But remember, noticing a bad thought is already progress, because awareness is the first step to change. Every time you notice and replace a thought, you are taking back control. With enough repetition, new patterns will become automatic. The truth is, the hardest time to discipline your thinking is during emotional storms. When you are angry, afraid, or deeply sad, your thoughts become harder to control. But these are the moments when discipline matters most. Think of it like a pilot flying a plane. When the sky is clear, flying is easy. But when the storm comes, that's when skill and training decide whether the plane lands safely or crashes. The same is true for your mind. It's easy to think clearly when life is easy. The real test is when life is hard. One technique that helps in emotional storms is called pause and choose. When a strong emotion hits you, pause for a few seconds. Take a deep breath. Then choose your next thought deliberately. For example, if someone insults you, your first thought might be, "I'll insult them back." But if you pause, you can choose a better thought. "I will not let their words control me. I choose peace over reaction." This small gap between emotion and thought can save you from many regrets. Part 3. Building long-term mental discipline. If you truly want to discipline your thinking for life, you must understand that it's not just a skill, it's a lifestyle. You can't treat mental discipline like a short-term project you work on for a few weeks and then forget about. It's something you must carry with you into every situation, every challenge, and every season of your life. Think about physical health. You can't exercise for 1 month, get in shape, and then stop forever, expecting to stay healthy. If you stop exercising and start eating badly, your health will decline again. The same is true for your mind. You may work hard to discipline your thinking now, but if you stop paying attention, old habits will return. Discipline is not a one-time effort. It's an ongoing commitment. One of the best ways to keep your thinking disciplined over time is to create mental checkpoints throughout your day. These are moments where you stop for a few seconds and check in with your thoughts. You can do this in the morning, at lunch, in the evening, or whenever you feel your emotions rising. Simply ask yourself, what am I thinking right now? Is this thought useful? Does it help me grow? These checkpoints act like gentle reminders that your mind needs steering, just like a ship needs constant adjustments to stay on course. Let me tell you about Tom, a school teacher who used mental checkpoints to transform his stress into strength. Before using checkpoints, he would often feel overwhelmed by noisy students, piles of marking, and constant deadlines. His mind would repeat thoughts like, "This is too much. I can't handle it." These thoughts made him tired and impatient. But once he started mental checkpoints, everything changed. Every time stress appeared, he paused and asked, "Is this thought helping me right now? What would a better thought be?" Slowly, he replaced "I can't handle this" with "one step at a time, I've got this." Over months, this habit rewired his mind. His stress didn't disappear, but his ability to handle it increased massively. Another tool for long-term discipline is mental environment design. Your environment shapes your thinking more than you realize. If you live and work in chaos-messy spaces, loud distractions, constant interruptions, your mind will struggle to stay focused. But if you organize your space, set clear boundaries, and remove unnecessary noise, your mind will find it easier to stay disciplined. It's not just about cleaning your desk. It's about creating an environment that supports the way you want to think. For example, if you want to think creatively, fill your space with things that inspire you: books, music, quotes, or images that spark ideas. If you want to think calmly, make your space simple, uncluttered, and quiet. When your surroundings match your goals, mental discipline becomes natural instead of forced. Now let's talk about how disciplined thinking affects big life decisions. Your thinking determines your choices, and your choices determine your future. An undisciplined mind will make decisions based on impulse, fear, or temporary feelings. A disciplined mind makes decisions based on values, goals, and long-term vision. This difference can completely change the path of your life. Imagine two people offered the same opportunity, a new job in another city. The undisciplined thinker might say, "I'm scared to leave my comfort zone, so I'll stay where I am." The disciplined thinker asks, "Does this move align with my long-term goals? What's the risk, and what's the potential reward?" They may still feel fear, but they decide based on clarity, not panic. Over the years, these different decision-making patterns create completely different lives. This brings us to another point. Fear. Fear is the #1 enemy of disciplined thinking. Fear clouds your judgment, magnifies problems, and makes you imagine the worst-case scenario. But here's the truth. Fear is just a thought. It feels real, but it's only a mental picture your brain creates. You don't have to erase fear completely. You just have to stop letting it drive the car. A disciplined thinker feels fear but acts according to their plan, not their panic. One way to deal with fear is the logic lens method. When fear appears, put it through the lens of logic. Ask yourself, what's the actual evidence for this fear? What's the likelihood it will happen? If it did happen, what could I do? Most of the time, you'll see that the fear is either exaggerated or completely imagined. This logical questioning weakens fear's power over your mind. Another challenge to disciplined thinking is overthinking. Overthinking is like spinning your car's wheels in the mud. You use a lot of energy, but go nowhere. A disciplined mind knows when to think deeply and when to make a decision and move forward. If you find yourself trapped in overthinking, set a time limit for making decisions. For example, tell yourself, I will think about this for 30 minutes, then I will decide. This prevents you from endlessly looping the same thoughts without action. Let's not forget the role of self-belief in mental discipline. If you secretly believe you are not capable or worthy, your thinking will always be limited. That's why part of disciplining your mind is training yourself to believe in your ability to learn, adapt, and improve. This doesn't mean lying to yourself. It means focusing on your strengths and reminding yourself of past victories. When you believe you can find a way, your mind works harder to create one. One of the most inspiring examples of disciplined thinking comes from athletes who have overcome serious injuries. Many of them could have said, "It's over. I'll never compete again." But instead, they disciplined their thinking to focus on recovery. They told themselves, "I will come back stronger. This is not the end." They trained their minds as hard as they trained their bodies, and may return to compete, some even better than before. That's the power of refusing to let your thoughts become your prison. Now let's talk about setbacks. No matter how disciplined your mind becomes, life will still bring setbacks, failures, losses, disappointments. The difference between an undisciplined thinker and a disciplined one is how they respond. The undisciplined thinker says, "This is unfair, I give up." The disciplined thinker says, "This is painful, but it's a lesson. How can I use it to grow?" They still feel the pain, but they turn it into progress. Think of setbacks as weights in the gym. They may feel heavy and uncomfortable, but they are what builds strength. If you avoid them completely, you remain weak. If you face them with the right mindset, they make you stronger than ever. Part 4. Strengthening your mind with purpose and focus. One of the most powerful forces behind a disciplined mind is having a clear purpose. When you know why you want to control your thoughts, your mind becomes easier to guide. Purpose acts like a compass, pointing your thoughts in the right direction. Without purpose, your mind drifts like a ship lost at sea. With purpose, even storms cannot stop you. Imagine a young woman named Emma. For years, Emma's mind was full of confusion and doubt. She felt lost and unmotivated. Then she found her purpose to become a teacher and help children learn. Suddenly, her thoughts changed. When fear or tiredness came, she reminded herself of her purpose. This is not just about me. It's about the children I want to help. Her thinking became disciplined because it had meaning. Every thought was measured against her purpose. Purpose is not always big or dramatic. It can be as simple as wanting to be a better parent, a reliable friend, or a person who grows every day. When your thoughts connect to this purpose, it becomes easier to choose helpful, positive ideas and reject negativity. Another way to strengthen your mind is through focus. In our modern world, distractions are everywhere: phones, social media, noisy environments. These distractions scatter your thoughts and weaken your mental discipline. But a focused mind is a strong mind. It chooses what to pay attention to and ignores what does not serve the goal. Focus is like a flashlight in a dark room. If you shine the light on many things at once, nothing becomes clear. But if you point it steadily at one thing, it shines brightly and shows the way. You can train your focus like a muscle. Start with small exercises, like concentrating on one task for 5 minutes without checking your phone. Over time, increase this time. The more you practice focus, the more control you gain over your thoughts. Here is a story about a man named Carlos who struggled with distraction. Carlos would start a task but quickly lose interest and jump to another. His mind was like a buzzing bee, unable to settle. He knew he needed mental discipline but didn't know how. One day, he started practicing simple focus exercises, sitting quietly and paying attention to his breathing for a few minutes every morning. Slowly, his mind calmed. Tasks became easier to complete. His thinking became clearer. What seemed impossible before became natural. This shows that focus and discipline grow together. Disciplining your thinking also requires you to become a student of your mind. Pay attention to your thought patterns. Notice what triggers negative thinking. Is it certain people, situations, or feelings? Once you identify these triggers, you can prepare and protect your mind better. For example, if you notice that after watching the news you feel anxious and hopeless, consider limiting your exposure or choosing more balanced sources. If talking with a certain person always leaves you feeling drained, set boundaries to protect your mental space. Becoming aware of triggers is like learning the weak spots in a wall before the storm hits. You can reinforce those spots and prevent damage. Another key to mental discipline is practicing positive visualization. Visualization means imagining yourself succeeding, overcoming obstacles, or handling challenges calmly. This mental rehearsal trains your brain to expect success and prepares it to respond well under pressure. Olympic athletes, successful entrepreneurs, and powerful leaders all use visualization. They see themselves crossing the finish line, closing the big deal, or delivering the perfect speech long before it happens. This practice builds confidence and discipline in their thinking. You can try this too. Each day, spend a few minutes imagining a situation where you want to be strong mentally. See yourself reacting calmly, thinking clearly, and making wise choices. Feel the emotions of success and peace. This simple habit rewires your mind to stay disciplined when the real moment comes. Let's also talk about the power of mantras. Short, positive statements you repeat to yourself. Mantras are like mental anchors. When your mind drifts into negativity, a mantra pulls you back. Examples include, I am capable, I choose peace, or every challenge makes me stronger. You can create your own mantra or borrow one that resonates. The key is repetition. Say it quietly in your mind or out loud whenever you feel your thoughts slipping. Over time, your brain will learn to accept these words as truth. It's natural to face resistance when you begin disciplining your thinking. Your mind is used to old habits and may fight change. You might feel frustration, impatience, or even self-doubt. But this resistance is a sign you are growing. Like muscles burning during exercise, mental resistance means your brain is building new pathways. When resistance appears, don't give up. Remind yourself that growth takes effort. Celebrate every small victory, every time you catch a negative thought, every moment you stay focused, every time you choose calm over panic. These victories build momentum, making mental discipline easier with time. Part 5. Applying mental discipline in everyday life. Disciplining your thinking is not just about what happens inside your mind. It's about how you live every day. Your thoughts shape your actions shape your habits, and your habits shape your future. To truly master your thinking, you must learn to apply mental discipline in every part of your life. Imagine waking up each morning with a plan, not just for your work or tasks, but for how you will manage your thoughts throughout the day. This plan becomes your roadmap, helping you navigate challenges and distractions with clarity and calm. One powerful way to do this is through intentional morning routines. How you start your day sets the tone for your thinking. Some people wake up and immediately scroll through their phones, reading messages, news, or social media posts. This often floods the mind with unnecessary noise and negativity. Others take a few moments of quiet, maybe through meditation, journaling, or simply breathing deeply, and set positive intentions for the day. For example, you might say to yourself, Today, I will focus on solutions, not problems. Or, I will be patient and kind, especially when things get hard. These simple statements prepare your mind to handle the day with discipline. Relationships are another area where disciplined thinking can make a huge difference. Often we react quickly to others' words or actions, letting emotions like anger or hurt control us. But when your mind is trained to pause and choose your thoughts carefully, you create space between stimulus and response. This space allows you to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Think about a time when someone said something upsetting to you. If your mind is undisciplined, you might immediately think, "They don't respect me," or "They're trying to hurt me," and react in anger or sadness. But with a disciplined mind, you might pause and think, "Maybe they are having a bad day," or "Their words reflect their pain, not my worth." This shift in thinking changes your emotional experience and your behavior. Applying mental discipline also helps you face daily challenges more effectively. Life is full of unexpected problems. Traffic jams, work stress, disagreements, or failures. It's easy to let these small problems pile up and overwhelm you. But disciplined thinking helps you keep perspective. When a challenge arises, instead of thinking, "This is terrible. Why does this always happen to me?" you can choose to think, "This is difficult, but I can handle it." Or, "What can I learn from this situation?" This mental shift reduces stress and opens your mind to solutions. A practical way to build this habit is to keep a small notebook or use your phone's notes app to write down moments when you practiced disciplined thinking. At the end of each day, review these moments. Celebrate how your thoughts helped you stay calm or make good decisions. This reflection reinforces your progress and motivates you to keep going. Remember, disciplined thinking does not mean ignoring your feelings or pretending life is perfect. It means acknowledging reality, accepting emotions, and choosing thoughts that help you grow. This balanced approach makes your mind stronger, your emotions clearer, and your life fuller. Part 6. Overcoming doubt, distraction, and negative influences. Every person who tries to discipline their thinking faces obstacles. The most common ones are doubt, distraction, and negative influences. These challenges are normal, but how you respond to them will shape your mental strength. Doubt is like a shadow that follows every step you take toward growth. It whispers things like, "Are you sure you can do this?" Or, "Maybe you're not good enough." Doubt tries to freeze your mind and stop you from moving forward. But remember, doubt is only a thought, not a fact. When doubt appears, don't fight it by pushing it away or pretending it's not there. Instead, face it with curiosity. Ask yourself, what is the real reason I'm doubting? Is this fear or lack of information? Often, doubt comes from fear of failure or the unknown. The more you investigate it calmly, the more you can see it clearly and respond wisely. One way to beat doubt is by breaking your goals into small, manageable steps. When a big goal feels overwhelming, your mind doubts your ability to reach it. But when you focus on one small action at a time, like writing one paragraph, making one phone call, or walking for 5 minutes, you build confidence. Each small win weakens doubt's power and strengthens your belief in yourself. Distractions is another thief of mental discipline. In today's world, distractions come from all directions. Phones, social media, emails, noisy environments, and even restless thoughts. Distraction scatters your focus and wastes your mental energy. To fight distraction, create boundaries around your time and attention. This might mean turning off notifications during work, setting specific times to check social media, or finding a quiet space to think deeply. Another powerful tool is the Pomodoro technique, working for focused intervals of 25 minutes followed by short breaks. This method trains your mind to concentrate in bursts, improving focus and reducing fatigue. You can also train your brain to notice distractions without immediately reacting. When a distracting thought or noise appears, pause and gently bring your attention back to the task. This act of returning focus is itself a mental exercise that builds discipline. Negative influences, people, environments, or habits that drain your energy can also weaken your thinking. Sometimes, you might not realize how much certain relationships or routines affect your mind. Take time to evaluate the people you spend the most time with. Are they encouraging and positive, or do they constantly complain and criticize? While it's normal for everyone to have bad days, consistent negativity can seep into your thinking and lower your motivation. Setting boundaries does not mean cutting people out of your life suddenly. It means protecting your mental space by limiting exposure to toxic influences and seeking support from those who uplift you. Surround yourself with people who inspire growth and challenge you to be better. Similarly, notice your habits. Do you spend hours consuming content that makes you feel anxious or small? Replace some of that time with activities that energize and inspire you, like reading, exercising, or creative hobbies. Discipline is not about being perfect. It's about making better choices more often. Every time you notice doubt, distraction, or negativity, and choose to steer your thoughts differently, you strengthen your mental muscle. Final part. The power is in your hands. You've learned that disciplining your thinking is not easy, but it is one of the most powerful choices you can make. Your mind is the captain of your life's ship. When you train it, guide it, and protect it, you decide your direction. When you let it run wild, you drift wherever the winds of emotion and circumstance take you. Remember, every great achievement begins with a single thought. The thoughts you think today build the habits that shape your tomorrow. The thoughts you choose to hold on to create the person you become. When you discipline your thinking, you take control of your story. It won't happen overnight. There will be moments of doubt, distraction, and struggle. That's normal. What matters is that you keep coming back to your purpose. Keep practicing awareness. Keep asking yourself better questions. Like a muscle, your mind grows stronger with use. Imagine the future you want, the confident, focused, peaceful person who handles life's storms with grace. That future is possible. It starts with the thoughts you think right now. So, make a choice. Choose to be the master of your mind. Choose to clean your mental garden. Plant seeds of hope and strength, and water them daily with discipline and love. Your mind is your most valuable tool. When you discipline it, there is nothing you cannot achieve. The power is in your hands. Your mind is your most valuable tool. When you discipline it, there is nothing you cannot achieve. The power is in your hands.